a difference in a kid's life. Like every kid needs that for success, right?
Exactly. Relationships are everything. And that's, one thing Dr. Perry says. He says, people, not programs, change people. Another one of my favorite quotes is, no significant learning occurs outside of a significant relationship.
Wow.
So that relationship building piece, that's one way we're building resilience in our kids, is being that positive, safe adult.
This is good stuff. This is really great work. And you guys are bringing this work to the BFF conference. You're going to actually be doing a 4-hour deep dive intensive workshop on Thursday at our conference, and I am super excited about it. So for people who are thinking about coming and taking your workshop, and I'll just tell you right now, Laura and I have been looking at registrations, and your workshop is getting a very brisk registration. If people are still thinking about it, what kinds of things can they expect from attending your workshop on Thursday?
Well, we're really excited to be able to do 4 hours. A lot of times we get an hour or two. So 4 hours really helps us go into more detail and also gives the participants a chance to work through, think about situations, and come up with some potential responses that might be trauma-informed. Obviously, we're going to start with defining trauma and going through the whole neuroscience of the brain. We'll review the ACE study, which can sometimes be traumatic for participants as well. Mm-hmm. We'll go through an activity to kind of help us look at and think more about what happened to you versus why are you doing that. We will be looking at and focusing a lot on the resiliency factors. We've already named one as a safe, supportive adult is definitely one of the resiliency factors that can help kids, work through trauma. We're planning on giving some tools to be trauma responsive. Part of what I like that we do is give some specific activities that can help calm kids down so that we can get to that part of their brain that helps them think and make good decisions and do problem solving. Mm-hmm. So we'll be providing some activities to help with that. And then we'll also look at survival behaviors. How do we respond to different behaviors? And then I think we're ending with some self-care, because we, as the responsible adult in any child's life, we have to make sure that we are okay. And so self-care is something that I know Emily and I think is a really important tool to make sure we're taking care of ourselves, because we all know that if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't really take care of other people. Right. Emily, what did I miss?
I think you got it all.
That's a lot.
Yay.
Thank goodness you have 4 hours. That's a lot.
We'll need lots of coffee.
Yeah, and it also feels like people will walk out of here with some real skills, some real tools to take back to their programs. So I'm super excited.
Well, that's our hope. I think the other thing I want to say is we give some ideas about activities, but everything we provide can be adapted. Mm-hmm. So if we have an activity that might seem a little more juvenile, if you're working for an elementary kid, the activity might be perfect. But if you're in middle school or high school, there are ways to adapt everything we do to be able to, have the same effect. And so I think that's important to remember, that the activities we're providing are not like black and white. This is the only way you can do it. There's lots of ways that you can adapt activities to make them appropriate for any age population.
Right. Even other adults, I think sometimes. Right. I've, having taken your course before, I have looked at adult relationships that I have with completely new eyes. I'm like, oh, that's why. That makes perfect sense now and actually helps me in my relationships. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Emily, were you going to add something? I'm sorry if I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say that I think, like I said earlier, it really does, it sounds cheesy, but it does change your life. It changes how you interact with people, how you approach people. And one thing we always say at the beginning of our training, too, is, we all come to this work with our own lived experiences. Mm-hmm. And we know that ACEs are incredibly common. And so, we also do ask people to take care of themselves, even just throughout our training. If people need to get up and get a breath of fresh air or splash some cold water on their face, it can be a lot to take in and think about, and it's natural to sort of consider your own childhood and your own life experiences and, how that might be impacting your work with youth.
Yeah, good points.
And I think it's really true. Like when I did this trauma training, I thought, oh, well, I really haven't been traumatized, and then I look at the age questionnaire and I had 2 positive responses on there. And it really got me thinking a lot about my life and how I've come to where I've come and sometimes why I've come to where I've come and how I've reacted. And, I really didn't think, oh, this doesn't really apply to me. And then it kind of smacked me in the face, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. So, Emily, when we started our podcast, you were mentioning a few researchers that had been doing work on this, and I'm wondering if you could revisit that. What, not just the authors, the professors that you were mentioning, but also other resources that you'd recommend for people who want to learn more about trauma responsive care.
Sure. Well, one thing I always recommend is a TED Talk by Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris. It's really great. It's about 15 minutes. You can go to YouTube. She talks about ACEs, trauma, really, again, in a way that's accessible to those of us that don't have an MD at the end of our names. So that's a really great one. Again, Dr. Perry, he wrote a book, The Boy Who Was Raised by a Dog, which is also a good resource. There's the website ACEs Connection that has, again, lots of good blog articles. And if people are local to Columbus, I have to give a plug to the Columbus Care Coalition. We're a group of over 100 agencies in Columbus that are working to make Columbus a more trauma-informed community. So networking with people at CARE is another great way to learn more.
Great. Thanks.
I would say, too,
go ahead.
There's
go
a
ahead,
couple
Marci.
things. There's a couple things. There is a 2-day foundational trauma training that's happening February 13th and 14th over at Mount Carmel. I believe there are still registrations available for that. It is free, and it's how Emily and I both started was attending that 2-day foundational training. It is being presented by Finding Hope Consulting, which is where we got trained, and the presenter is Mary, and we love her. She's amazing.
Yes, she's truly our mentor.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty awesome way to get in touch. And then, just to make sure that if you want more information, the CARE Coalition, as well as Emily and I as part of that coalition, are willing to come out and provide training to after-school staff, summer camp staff, school staff, anybody really who wants to get more deeply, get more knowledge about trauma and how to be trauma responsive.
Well, thanks for offering that, Emily.
Really,
I'm sorry, Marci.
Benefits from this.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say everybody benefits from this. I've done some trainings at our local libraries. If you interact with people, then this training applies to you.
That would be, I would think, almost everyone in the world. Yes. So, how can people contact you to get a hold of you to have you come out and present at a meeting? Would you mind giving your contact information?
Sure. This is Marci. You can email me at my work address. It's mryan, R-Y-A-N, at cchouse.org.
And this is Emily. You're also welcome to email me. My email is emily.buster, B-U-S-T-E-R, at ethio, ETHIOTSS.org.
Great.
They also could go to the Columbus Public Health website for the CARE Coalition and just sign up for a request for training. And then we have lots of trainers, so someone will respond to them, and one of us will sign up to provide training through that vehicle as well.
Excellent. Awesome. Emily, Marci, thank you so much for your time today, for talking to us about this very important topic. I'm super excited to have you guys at our conference, and I hope that people who are listening to the podcast can reach out to you and have you come and present, because you're both amazing presenters. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us. I appreciate all the accolades.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. I would like to thank Marci Ryan from Central Community House and Emily Buster from ETSS for joining me today and sharing information on trauma-responsive care. The Ohio Afterschool Network podcast was written and directed by Nichelle Shaskis. It was recorded at the OAN office in Willis Education Center in lovely downtown Delaware, Ohio. This podcast was edited and produced by Chris Kilbarger. Music also by Chris Kilbarger. OAN would like to thank the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation and the National Afterschool Association for their national support of the statewide work OAN does here in Ohio. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Ohio Afterschool, or subscribe to our newsletter at oanohio.org. That's it for today. Catch you next time.